Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Songwriters Circle. We hope you've enjoyed the past two broadcasts that we've done, and that we are here with our third, with the lovely Otto. How you
Hello.
doing? There
I'm
he is.
good. I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. We're just gonna hop straight into it.
Oh yeah, of course. Go for it. The song is called Sault Ste. Marie. Where you going and where you coming to? I will always think of you when I'm passing through Sault Ste. Marie. Is there time for an overnight stay? Should I choose another way before I fly to LA? Sault Ste. Maria, I wish you could have seen her, the way she smiled at me. Sault Ste. Maria. Run away and travel with me. Take all your family recipes. Bring me back to Sicily, to the things I'm yet to see. And all the worlds in your head, felt them in my hands like braille to be read. Mapped out dreams in my bed. Sault Ste. Maria, I wish you could have seen her, the way she smiled at me. Sault Ste. Marie. All of the culture I see, and those blue eyes looking back at me. I can see a bridge lining up in the dark. Never thought I'd see a brighter spark, holding a picture where you laugh. Swear I must have been a half, 'cause now I feel so whole. You gave back what they stole, and there's another home for me in Sault Ste. Marie.
That's lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's great. Um, there are a lot of specific places in that song that kind of lend themselves to create like a distinct like image. How how does travel affect what you write?
Oh, quite massively. Unfortunately, obviously, the year that we've had recently, it's been a bit stale, like traveling wise. So I'm a bit of a person, like when I write, I try my best to kind of gather inspiration from whatever is there, kind of in front of me. So like if like for example, there's another song that I wrote called "The Boy All in Blue," and that was written because I went to go buy a car down in Cardiff, and this little boy on a scooter rode up to me dressed in like a blue suit thing and was like trying to peddle wares, like trying to sell me stuff out of this bag, and I didn't know what was in the bag. So then I went home and I was like, God, that kid was like so courageous. Like if I was his age, like he was like 5 years old, like 8 years old, he was like really young, and he had you know, he had confidence of steel, because like I wouldn't have been able to ride up to a stranger and be like, do you want to buy some stuff out of my bag? Like especially like where I'm from. So it just kind of blew my mind that like that kid had that much confidence at his age. And I went home and like wrote this entire song about the boy all in blue,
Yeah.
which is on my YouTube. So yeah. So like, yeah, I think like when I'm writing songs, if I can travel, I've never really like. I'd like to be a traveling artist where like I go and I tour and I have moments with people and I write songs about those moments. But at the moment, it's kind of all in the same place,
Mm.
and I've been writing all these songs through lockdown and kind of in the old post office where I write a lot of my music lately.
Yeah. Um, the song in particular feels like a, a snapshot in time, like a moment that you wanted to capture, Sault Ste. Marie. Would you say that you use songwriting as a way to save things like moments or
Oh
people that
yeah,
you meet?
Yeah, big time. There's definitely like I've got a memory like a sieve. As a person, like I can't remember what I had for dinner like 4 days ago. You know, like I like three is a push. You know, I can just about like taste it, sort of thing. But any further beyond that, and I'm kind of like I have to like ask someone like what did I have for tea the other day, sort of thing. So I think like for me, being able to, and also like the idea of being able to create something out of nothing, like being able
Mm.
to think to myself like I can sit here and I can just think about how my day's been and put it onto a piece of paper, and then like people relate to that and they enjoy that. Like that's a really wonderful kind of feeling to have. So yeah, I'm just gonna carry on writing as many songs as I possibly
Yeah,
can.
it's like hitting this. It's like hitting a save button on
Oh
something that
yeah,
happens to you.
yeah, that's the best way to put it. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a good way of putting it.
Is there a question you want to ask, Jem?
Um, when like someone asks you what has influenced your work, whether it be an artist, a band, a film you've watched, what comes to mind?
Um, I guess like things that influence me would usually be like I don't know. It's kind of a peculiar question because like sometimes I'll be influenced by um, nothing in a way. Like sometimes I'll sit down and like I wrote an entire song because I hit a lamp bulb, like a lampshade, and it like resonated in a certain frequency, and I went to my piano and like started like drone noting that frequency on the piano, and then like wrote this entire piano sequence around it, and then thought, okay, now time for lyrics, and then like just dug deep and like wrote about how I was feeling, and I was having a bit of a bad week, so it just came out as quite a sad like droning song. So like when I'm trying to find inspiration for myself, it's usually I just gather from what's around me, and I'm quite like a visual artist as well. So I kind of like I like looking at stuff, and I like sort of like for example the single that I'm going to be releasing soon. Like when I listen to that song, I see pastel colors. So like the whole music video is going to be shot in like a pastel village. So I'm quite visual when it comes to like my inspiration for stuff as well.
Yes. I had a question I want to ask, but I forgot what it was. It's gone forever. Um, Memory like a sieve.
Yeah, yes.
um, I want to know what it was. I want to remember what it was. Oh, it's a shame. Do you
You
want
got time.
to? Oh yeah, yeah, I found it again. Uh, would you say that where you grew up has kind of shaped your mind in a way
Oh
to
yeah.
think this way and be so like be so sensitive to little things that can inspire you to write?
Yeah, like not to get like super duper deep or anything, but like I didn't have many friends in school, and I moved to Wales from England when I was very young, and I don't know, it, you know, young children can be the worst sometimes. um, just because like you know I got bullied a lot in school for being you know English as opposed to Welsh. So I didn't have many friends. So like I used to go home and I would just sit and play guitar to myself. And sometimes like I'm a bit of a gamer behind the scenes. So like I would turn on my PlayStation 3 at the time. I'm now a PC gamer. But like I would turn on my console and I would like sing to people on Call of Duty and stuff like that. Just for a laugh, just to see like
I'm
what their
gonna kill
reaction.
you.
Yeah, like just to see what their reaction would be, and like it was quite nice because it kind of like it went from there to then like pretty serious. Like I had a session with my friend where we were just jamming, and I was like, this feels amazing. This is what I want to do, and from then onwards, like the next step then was kind of like writing songs and busking them in Cardiff. So I just went from like bit by bit to then like releasing material that I feel really strongly about and that holds a large place in my heart.
It's great. Would you like to sing us your second song?
Yeah, I shall do. Um, so this one is called um, Something Blue, which has an interesting story behind it,
Yeah.
which is the whole song is kind of written about a.
Tell us the story after you.
Yeah,
After you sing it.
second hand. You didn't know your self-worth valued lower than a lonely man. Let me colour in your dance and mark up all your scars. Show me all your beauty spots, they remind me of the stars. And if I could hold my breath half as much as I love you, swear on everything, I would turn blue. I would turn blue. I was broken when you first saw me, a lonely man who had no plans. You filled up my days dreaming of your face, now better than a hollow man. Let me colour in your dance and mark up all your scars. Show me all your beauty spots, they remind me of the stars. And if I could hold my breath half as much as I love you, swear on everything, I would turn blue. I would turn blue. And we vanished over you and hoped that you would stay. Now I look down for your wisdom and all the words you say. I tore up the receipt 'cause I like the way you play. Colour in my heartbeat for the rest of my days. Colour in the dance and mark up all the scars. Show me all your beauty spots, they remind me of the stars. And if I could hold my breath half as much as I love you, swear on everything, I would turn blue. I would turn blue. I was broken when you were broken too. Out of you, I grew into something blue.
So lovely. It's so lovely. That's my favorite. This dog's barking. I apologize. Please tell us this story. I love this story so much. What's this song about?
The song's about a guitar, which is quite interesting, because basically, unfortunately, it's not this guitar. I've been like shopping for that music video that I mentioned earlier, so I'm not in my sort of my usual creative space where I have like all my instruments and stuff.
Yeah.
But this guitar that the song's written about, I bought this guitar for £2, and it's this really dreadful, like super cheap, like nylon string. Like the neck is all warped. It doesn't hold standard tuning. It only holds this tuning, which is like kind of dadgad. And yeah, it's just like it's really bad. It's a really bad guitar. But I bought the
Like
guitar.
a nylon string, right?
Yeah, it's a nylon string. Yeah, it's like a Spanish guitar. So I bought it, and I was thinking to myself, like, this is horrendous. I thought to myself, like, it's never gonna play properly. Like the nut was missing, loads of stuff was missing off of it. And I just thought to myself, I'll just sand it down and I'll paint it. So I like sanded it down and painted it with a friend of mine. And then yeah, we like did like paint splotches all over it, so it looks really kind of interesting. And then that friend had to sort of like leave my life. And yeah, it got a bit sad, and I was like, okay. So like I approached kind of the people that follow me on Instagram, and I was like, should I restring the guitar? And they were like, yeah, restring it and take it to an open mic. So I like spent like a month or two just like taking it to different gigs that I was playing and a couple open mics, and I got people that had come to like listen to my music to like write down their favorite quotes from like their favorite poets and stuff like that. So I've got on the back of the guitar like all these different quotes from people that enjoy my music. So when I'm having like a really tough day, or like if I'm just like not feeling creatively inspired, I can just kind of like sit there, look at the guitar, and just kind of go, "That's really nice." So it's kind of like a nice sort of kind of comfort blanket instrument for me. And it was interesting as well because like I don't really write in open tunings, and it kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone. But the guitar is only worth like £2, but it ended up getting like there's recordings of it that'll be coming out soon on a body of work, and it was like mixed in one of the world's best studios, and it's like a £2 guitar, and it sounds so bad. So it's quite nice because like quite a lot of people always kind of think to themselves like, and like to like they think, oh, I need the best instrument to be the best at what I do. It's like it's not always the case in a weird way. And yeah, there's lyrics hidden in the song, like on the guitar, like the nut is broken, which is like this part of the guitar. And there's when I bought the guitar, I like tore up the receipt and I jammed it under the nut. And like in the bridge, it's like I tore up the receipt because I like the way you play. Because like, I'm never going to take that guitar back. And yeah, it's just like it's a really nice sort of memento of that time in my life as well. So
That's great. Do you have a question you want to ask, Jim?
I do. When you struggle to write or create, or when you have writer's block, like what do you do?
I'm quite a firm believer of like having that downtime. So like if you're really struggling with writing, I think the best thing to do is like take a step back, and do something else that you really enjoy. So like I really enjoy cooking. I really enjoy like video games, like hanging out with my mates if I have time. So like skateboarding as well. I skateboard, so I like go out and skateboard if I'm kind of like feeling not creatively inspired. And the reason why you should always step back and just take a moment to breathe is because like if you're working 110% of the time, you won't have anything inspiring to write about. So like if I sat at my piano and was writing songs every single day, eventually the songs that I'm going to end up writing about are just going to be songs about me sitting at a piano trying to write songs. And you'll get into this kind of like wormhole of like everything I'm creating isn't good enough because there's not an actual story behind it. You're just writing it for the sake of writing it. So it's good to have like the downtime and go and like find adventure and like push yourself as a person beyond the art, and try and find something that is like worth writing about.
That's great. Was there a moment in your life when you discovered what songwriting was and what it could do?
Um, Oddly enough, no. It's like weirdly, it's like it kind of like attached itself to me. Like I was kind of like going throughout life, and like I said, I didn't have many friends, so like I turned to music, and then from there, I would like sing cover songs in pubs, and I would I'd do the whole like normal routine of stuff, and I would hate it, and like it got to the point where like I would do it for the fun of it, and then it got to the point where I would do it and I wouldn't enjoy it anymore. And I was like, why is that? And I just realized like I want to be saying what I like. I want to say something. Like got to the point where I was like, I've lived a life that's interesting enough to say something about it, and think that people could resonate with it too. And the same like the post EP, like I would sit on buses when I was going to college and stuff like that, and I would look at like elderly people, and I would kind of sit there and be like, because of social constructs, like I can't just ask them random questions like, oh, what life have you lived? And I think it'd be so much more interesting if you could just like approach a stranger and be like, so tell me the worst moment or the best moment in your life, because then you like have someone else's perspective on the life that they're living, because everyone's living a completely unique life. So like that's where the post EP sort of came from, is like writing a song, or like writing songs for people who don't have the ability to write songs, and like sharing stories that aren't mine, they're someone else's.
That's great. There's another song off that EP, right, called The Boxer.
Yeah.
Are you about to play it for us?
I will, yeah. I just need to do a tiny quick tune. I'm going to be super
Okay.
cheeky and tune up.
That's right.
Usually I tell really bad jokes, but I just... there
There are
was
none.
one- yeah, there are none. I mean, there's an interesting story that I can tell why I do this.
Huh?
So I had like a car crash.
Oh no.
Yeah, so really cheery story, guys. And I had to go like pick up a hire car. And when I went to go pick it up, the lady like had this clipboard, and she was really lovely. And she was like, you know, you're not allowed to smoke in the car. You're not allowed to do this, that in the car. And then all of a sudden she said, oh yeah, and we don't allow hair. And for some reason my brain like thought to itself like, wait, I'm gonna have to wear fishnets while I drive this car. Like the entire time I have this hire car. And then it clicked like 3 minutes later that she obviously meant like dog hair. Yeah, it was horrendous. But yeah, that's my interesting story while I tune.
Great.
Yeah, I also had I've done some crazy gigs. One of the worst gigs I've done, I got spat on by by an audience member as I was loading all my gear in. Like I didn't even sing yet, and they spat at me. Like at least wait for me to sing to be like, so
Aw.
you know.
God.
I
I've
mean,
asked that guy what his worst moment in life was.
Yeah, so there's been some interesting gigs, and then you know you have to have the good ones to have the bad ones. You know, it's yin and yang. You know, that's the same with the songwriting situation. Like you have to have the downtime to have the good songs.
Yeah.
You have to have the bad gigs to have the good ones.
There you go.
Yeah. All loops back around on itself.
There we go. See, we planned it. No.
Yeah. So this is Boxer, and I'll probably go into what it's all about afterwards. Okay. Took it in your stride, a man never short of pride, one of the few, always looked up to. Such a man to fight dying days. I wonder if he can win this race. On his feet, I know he'd waste it. An athlete in a boxer's game. Fool one at a time, but never fell out of line. One of the few. Please come home soon. Such a man to fight dying days. I wonder if he can win this race. On his feet, I know he'd waste it. An try for fame against all odds. The champion is in your fate. Such a man to fight dying days. I wonder if he can win this race. On his feet, I know he'd wasted an athlete in a boxer's game.
Yay! That's great. Thank you so much. How did the inspiration for that song find you?
Yeah, so that's a good way of putting it. I like the way you put that. Yeah, it came to me via a letter. Yeah, so with the Post EP, it's a concept EP. I live in an old post office up in the Rhondda Valleys. So I thought to myself, like, it's not a working post office, it's all like, it's my childhood home and stuff like that. But I thought to myself, I would like to sort of, after having that thought to myself, where I would be on the bus and I would be sat there thinking, looking at these elderly people, thinking like, God, they've lived an entire life, completely separate and unique to my own. They've fallen in love, fallen out of love. They've got a dad, they've got a mum, they've probably got an auntie or an uncle. Like they've got entire lives that they've lived. And I'm just sat here on a bus and there's like, 10 of them around me, and like they're all unique in their own way. And like it was just interesting to me. So what I did was I sent letters out to all of my neighbors being like, I'm a young singer-songwriter. I want to take these memories that you've got and I want to turn them into like songs, and I'll pretty much like narrate and create this sort of world for these memories that you've got to like live in. So that's where the Post EP came from. And the boxer is my next door neighbour's father, who is a champion boxer from the 1920s. And yeah, I got that. I got his obituary notice come through, like my letterbox, and I wrote the boxer was actually the first song on the EP to be finished. And it was like the first one to be released as well. So it's one of my favourites to this day still, just because it's really fun to sing, and the falsetto part's fun as well. And like when you're playing with a full band and you've got like the drum rolls and in between bits, and it's really fun. So yeah, I really like that one. It's one of my favourites of my own music, and it was a real pleasure to write as well. It was really weirdly easy to write. Like I went and I like found loads of books, and went to like libraries and like tried to like find more information on the guy, and I did, which was amazing. So like did this like proper research like sort of situation for the whole EP. Yeah, it was like really fun. It's a really fun song. Like the creation of it was fun and the playing of it is fun, so it marries together like really nicely.
That's wonderful. That's really interesting. Do you have a question, Jim?
I do. All these stories that you tell are clearly very important to you. And we can tell that in just the 3 songs that you've sang for us today. What kind of stories are you interested in telling?
I'm interested in sort of like kind of like building a world where people, if they're having a bad day, can like go and listen to me. And that sounds really silly, but like I like the idea of like I use my music as a form of therapy to get things out. And like when I'm not narrating other people's stories, whenever it's like my own story, it's usually like you said, it's like a save point. Like it's something that I want to remember, or something that I need to get off my chest. Like it's one or the other usually. Or it's like a celebration of something that's happening in my life, sort of thing. So like there's, I think it's kind of songwriting wise, I want to build a world where people can kind of go to and just almost like chill out for a little bit. Like there'll be like a song for sort of every occasion. So you know, if you want to relax and listen to something slow, there'll be something there. But then you've got those songs that it's pretty much just like kind of I want my music to mirror my life, and I think it's kind of doing that like consistently at the moment. Like there'll be a moment that happens, and then straight afterwards I'll write a song about it and be like, oh, that's a thing that's now happened in my life, and now it's a song sort of thing. So that's probably the best way for me to answer that question, I think.
Yeah. Everything's special.
Yeah, to me it is for sure.
I'm gonna ask you one last question before we head off for the night. What song makes you cry? What just destroys you and makes you feel better?
I cry like that. I'm quite. I'm not much of a crier. I mean, I am in certain situations for sure. But there's definitely one song that, like, the first time I heard it, I thought to myself, "Ooh, that's real deep." Was Nova Amor Anchor, which is like he's a Welsh artist actually, and he's phenomenal. He's insane. And at that time of my life, I was listening to Bon Iver a lot, or Bon Iver, and he kind of like his sound is sort of ethereal like his, and they both use their falsetto, and there's loads of harmonies, and it's just like really, and also like Heavenly Father by Bon Iver, like I like that as well. That's like really relaxing, like really like impactful music. I think like the music that makes me cry is like when it kind of lulls you into a sense of like security, and then it hits you with something deep, and you're like, oh. And then like we sent my grandfather, because he passed away from cancer a while ago. We sent him off to Jamie Lawson. Wasn't expecting that. So that was like his favorite song, and we like played it at his funeral. So that was probably a heart hitter as well for me.
It's about when they hit you as well, when that song appears in your life.
In your life, yeah, because I think like you tie a moment to it. Then I guess that's what I want to do with my music, is let people tie their moments to it. So
yeah, be it sad or happy or confused.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's lovely. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh no, it's my pleasure.
It was lovely. We'll be back on Sunday with CVC, Cardiff's own CVC, and we hope you will join us for that one as well. Thank you so much for coming and watching, and hopefully really enjoying this. I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it as well.
Thank you so much. I'll see you Sunday night. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.